안녕! On our previous episode, I taught you 3 different kinds of jobs. And there was a student, 학생, and journalist, 기자. Office worker, 회사원. Now, what does teacher mean in Korean? Does anybody know? Yes, teacher means 교사 in Korean. However, 교사 is a way to describe the job, but it doesn't really work as a word that people use to actually address their teachers. Today, I'm going to teach you a Korean word that is used to indicate a very respected job, teacher, and is also used as an expression of respect as itself. It is 선생님, 선생님, 선생님. 선생님 is usually used to address a teacher. At school, students don't call their teachers 교사. If you call your teacher 교사, it would be very awkward and sound even condescending to some sensitive teachers. 교사, like I've said, is only a way of indicating an occupation, and when you actually address teachers that you respect, you call them 선생님. 선생님 is not only used to teachers, but it's also used to other people as well. So, 선생님 is synonymous to the Chinese word 사부 or master in Korea. This word is frequently used to express politeness. In Korea, we call anyone that teaches you something 선생님, even if it's not a teacher. If there is someone that you respect so much because you believe he or she is capable of giving you good lessons, you call them 선생님. In other words, you use this word to elevate your counterpart's position and lower yours. It is used for people you first met as well, so it can actually be used as a way of saying hello or introducing yourself, and most importantly, showing and expressing your respect towards them. So this way of using 선생님 emerged only quite recently, and people do this because, like I've said in earlier episodes, you don't usually say 당신, which is the actual heightened form of second-person singular pronoun to people, not if you don't want to pick a fight with random people on the street. So instead of 당신, you use 선생님. This word shows how Koreans like to stay very modest. They want to stay in a lower position with people they respect or people they just met by considering them as their master or people that they can learn from. So when you call anyone in Korea 선생님, you will be very welcome. You can call your taxi driver 선생님. So you can say 코엑스로 갑시다 선생님. 코엑스로 갑시다 선생님. Which means, let's go to COEX. And the taxi driver will be so pleased that he might actually give you a free ride. And you can say 선생님 to a passerby instead of saying, excuse me, do you speak English when you're asking for directions. For example, you can say 방송국으로 가려면 어느 쪽으로 가야 하나요, 선생님? Which means, how can I get to the broadcast station, madam or sir? So you're actually very respecting them by saying 선생님. Also, you can always call your actual teachers 선생님. 뭐 물어볼 게 있어요, 선생님. It means I have a question, but don't call children or those that are distinctly younger than you 선생님, because like I've said, in the very age-ranked society like Korea, if you are older than someone, they are the ones that should be calling you 선생님 and not you. So if you call the younger one 선생님, you're making the situation really awkward. And other than that, people working in public organizations also call their citizens using 선생님. They would also call me Jamie 선생님, or if your name is Tom, they will call you Tom 선생님, and they're showing respect that way. So don't use 당신, use 선생님 instead. Like I said last class, if you call someone 당신, you're really offending the person. Say if you say 당신 뭐라고 말한 거야, which means what is it that you just told me, which isn't really weird in English, but because you used 당신 instead of 선생님, you're implying that he or she just said something that they're not supposed to, and thus you want to fight with them. And if you want to say this in a polite way, you have to use 선생님 instead, like this. 선생님은 무엇을 말한 거예요? Which means, what is it that you just told me? It's the same meaning, but because you use 선생님, it's much more polite. Also, if you want to change the phrase that I taught you last class, which was 당신 몇 살이야, which, like I've told you, is a very rude and I want to pick a fight kind of expression. Instead of that, we can say 선생님은 몇 살이에요? That way, you are not being rude at all, and you are just safely asking someone how old they are. So, yeah. So please use 선생님, not 당신, always. So today we learned how modern Koreans use 선생님 instead of 당신 as a way of addressing someone else. In the past, teachers were considered as one of the most respected figures in Korea. And if you call someone 선생님, you're respecting them so much and thus you're being very polite, which is great in Korea. Isn't that cool? I have to say, the mindset of anyone can teach me something embedded in the usage of the word 선생님 in Korea is actually truly beautiful. And I hope Koreans can keep this custom for a very long time. And I hope my students here can learn about this as well and use it well. Okay, I hope our class was fun today. And yeah, that's it for today. 수고했어요. 안녕!